Hello, everyone. How exciting. We're creating a successful optimal business today. My guess is that all of you are here for the same reason, aren't you? And Mark and I have got lots of things to share with you today. We have lots of exciting past experiences. We've opened several offices all over the United States and have really, truly made each one of them very successful. So we know it can be done, and we want to really focus on not only the structure that really helps with a successful business, but also some of the nuances that you just don't really think about. So, Mark?
And we're going to take a relatively high-level view of breaking apart a business plan into the different segments that you really need to be thinking about. And in just one day we can't get to ground zero on any one of them, but enough hopefully to open up your mind, give you some things to think about, give you some things to talk with us about after the class.
Yeah.
Just plant those seeds. Some of you have had offices, or currently have an office, and some of this might confirm what you're doing or raise some questions. And it's just a walk through a business plan and some marketing ideas, and we'll talk about things that have been successful and things that have not been successful.
Absolutely, because there are definitely those
for
as
us
well.
in the past. As all the names here are familiar names from earlier classes, and so kind of what we've been through. But
actually, Mark, it's a relatively small class. We have 7 people today. I think if it's okay, let's just do a real quick introduction. And
great.
Let's, if you wouldn't mind, Mark's going to unmute you as we go. And I think what would be really helpful is if you could tell us how long you've been using NeuroOptimal in your business, and if you have a stuck point, if there's something that just doesn't feel like you're kind of getting over that hurdle, or some very definite information you hope to gain today, please let us know, as well as how many systems you own. So, a lot of times people will only have the one system, but are planning on expanding. Other people may already have 5 or 6 systems and don't know how to, market them or do anything with them now. So we're going to open this up. We're going to go in alphabetical order by first names for us. So I don't know
that's
how.
The way go to webinar.
Yeah, that's just the way they place them in here. So again, just give us an idea of how long you've been in business, maybe how many people you're seeing on a regular basis, or if you're just starting, how many systems you own, and if there is a stuck point, share it with us real quick right now. And this is, again, a very intimate class right now, so let's just take advantage of that.
Okay.
All right?
All righty.
Let's start, Mark.
And the first one, and I apologize, I probably will not pronounce your name right. Dees or Disa? Are you there? Do you have a microphone?
Oh, hi. Yes. Hi, I'm Daisy, and I have just purchased one unit. My husband and I rented a unit for a month from Angela, and within four sessions we started seeing results. So I was actually able to convince my husband to invest on my coaching business and purchase this machine. And so I don't have much to say. I'm just curious, and I want to implement this in my business. I'm excited about it.
Excellent. Well, we are so happy. Are there any real specific questions you'd like us to go over today?
I think just knowing how other people started their businesses and any other general tips on how to start and how to educate your clients. Yes.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
I think we can hit on that one real easy. Thanks and welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, and now Georgia, it says you're self-muted, Georgia, so if you can click on that microphone, it's probably orange right now. If you can unclick that, you can you'll be able to speak to us. Or maybe not. Okay, well, we'll move on. Georgia, if you can find that and you can jump in, that would be great, okay? Or give me a little note in the question box. All right? We'll move on to Ken. Ken, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, Ken.
Hi.
Hi, Ken.
Hi. I did some Neuroptimal sessions back in the spring, and I decided I got an inheritance, and I decided to invest in a business bundle. So I have 3 machines, and I'm interested in learning how to market them. That's what I'm
Excellent.
interested in, marketing.
Okay. And we will spend a good amount of time on that. If it's not enough time, then you let us know. And
Okay.
you definitely ask questions as we go. Again, it's a relatively small group, just 7 of you. Mark and I make 9. So it makes it real easy to really kind of individualize this and make it powerful for you. So welcome,
Okay.
Ken. Nice to have you back.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Hello, Madeline, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I'm a clinical counselor in Victoria, BC, and I have one machine and just new to NO, about 3 months, and I'm stuck with what do I hand people? What do I give them? Is there a threefold, flyer that I can create for my business? Do I need to use the Neuroptimal one? What do I say to people? I think like they're marketing material. So I'm hoping to gain that out of this course.
Excellent.
I also have a technical question regarding the conductive paste. If there's a wholesale supplier that you know of, that would be wonderful information to have.
Yes. If you look on an old paste jar or tube that you might have, it is www.1020paste.com, I believe. No, that's not right. Just look on it. It has their website. You can go straight there. You do have to create a business account with them to be able to actually use them. And
Weaver and Company.
yeah, Weaver. That's it. Weaver.
And I think they're actually out of Colorado here in the States, but they'll set up an account and ship directly to you in Victoria.
So you'd only recommend the 1020 paste? No other?
It's the only one. It's really the only good offer that we have out there. They have a couple of other ones that have been kind of knockoffs of Weaver, but none of them really work as well. They don't have the conduction in it that Weaver does, that 1020 paste has. But more than that, they don't stay on the head as well. So I would highly recommend using that. If someone feels as though it's itchy to them, it usually is because it's an older tube of paste. So just most of the time you can just switch to a different one and it's fine. If for some odd reason they still feel that way, then just immediately, as soon as the session's over, get it off of them, but that's really truly the very best that we've got.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks.
Welcome, Madeline.
Thank you.
All right. And Mark. Are you there, Mark?
Yes, I'm actually here for my husband today for this first little while. He is a clinical psychologist and I'm a registered nurse. And we, with 2 other colleagues, just bought the the professional bundle and are just getting up and going in his practice and just super excited. He's been familiar with several kinds of neurofeedback over the last 20 years and is just thrilled with the results that he has seen with Neuroptimal. And we've been using it just even in our family and just in the, he's had, I guess, the first unit 3 weeks now and is just seeing just exciting results. And we're just excited to get this business going a little bit more. And I'm super excited.
We're real excited to have you. Have you guys taken the basic course then?
Yes, we did just over the weekend.
Oh, good. Okay, excellent. Well, so nice to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Michelle.
Oh, hi there.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm brand new. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I just have one system, and I took the basic course over the weekend. I have questions specifically on the uh, setting up a sole proprietor, or is that what you recommend as far as the actual business, and just so I make sure
Excellent.
the taxes
We'll go to
are
that almost.
clear. Yeah,
We
I've
go
had
to
a
that first thing. So good.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I have had a prior S corp, and it's way too complicated. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's my main goal as far as just like having an open mind and learning all the other things that everyone else already talked about.
Perfect. Well, hopefully everyone today will have just a little nugget of information that they get from today. And again, we have the question box there. We can always open up the microphone for anyone and everyone. So just say, I've got a question I want to ask, and we'll open your mic, and you can very easily do that. Or if for some reason people would like to just ask their question as we go, then we can do that as well. So again, I think we've met all of you. I'm Dr. Lisa DeLong, Mark DeLong. We teach most all of the online course. Well, we teach all of the online courses in English. Neither one of us speak French. So we have some other friends that do the French courses, and someone else who does the Spanish courses. But beyond that, Mark and I do all of the English courses. So we're very, very, very happy to have you guys. And I guess we ought to get started, huh, Mark?
I think we're ready to roll. Whoever's not talking will be watching the question box.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you can all find that in your GoToWebinar, and you've done that before in the classes with us in the past. So
yes.
Start talking, Lisa.
I'm going to go for it. You guys, we welcomed you with the basic course into what we call our Neurooptimal community. But I really do want to share with you, because I've been in this community for so long, even though you're doing your own thing, you're in your own world, you're involved in your own business, this is such an incredibly strong family, and we all feel like a family. We all feel like we belong to something bigger. It's a very unique program that Zengar has created. Just to let you know a tiny bit about their business, their corporate name is Zengar Institute Incorporated. And then the system that they have is Neurooptimal. Neurooptimal is registered, so we always use the register mark after we see it. And, we want to make sure that, after we use it, we want to make sure that we have we always have this registered mark. On any of the Microsoft conventions, you just put parentheses R parentheses, and that closes that. And then anytime you use the term dynamical neurofeedback, it is also registered. So you want to make absolutely sure that you kind of honor the parent company as you go through this. But it really is a family. Everyone is extremely approachable. So please, if you have any questions, find a staff member and ask them about it. Karen at neurooptimal.com does all of our past memberships and so forth. Carol Ann is the person who will answer some very, very, very general questions should you have them. Sam, who is Sam and Alex are brother sister, but they really run the business at this point. They're both extremely approachable. Either one of them you can go to and ask even simple questions, and they'll either get you with a good person that can help you through it, or they'll take care of it. Mark and I are in the education department, and we both will answer any and all questions that you have. Mark and I are the ones that really design and develop all the courses. We're also the ones who actually do all of the teaching online. We also are the ones that really have created Mark's really been instrumental in creating the extra revenue for the rental program. And although it's kind of been around for a long time, we probably were the first one that really took off and made it something really, really, really big. So we have a lot of things that we'll go over when we talk about rentals and whether it makes sense for you and your business to own them and run them. But he will give you a lot of insight to that. So really feel free to reach out to anybody and everybody. Lydie is an Lydie. And you can even reach her at education.com or education@neuroptimal.com. And Lydie is the one that will sign you up for courses and classes. If you're interested in creating a course or a class, you want Mark and I to create one and run it and or create the PowerPoint for it so that you can run one, you need to reach out to us and let us know, and we're happy to do that. And we have several free PowerPoint presentations that we can give you that you can start running in your own office, like getting to know NO and things like that, or the new user. So if you do sell systems, you've got a PowerPoint that you can use with people to help them understand what's going on. In the meantime, we're going to share all of these extra little things with you as we go that hopefully will be products that will be helpful for you in your practice, in your business. So welcome. We want to make sure that everyone feels welcomed. We also want to introduce, well, we've gone through and we've introduced everybody now, so we're going to skip over this slide altogether and kind of talk about what we're going to go over today. So we're going to start with, what actually makes a successful business, making sure that you're doing your own thing, how to create a business plan, and whether you even need a business plan. In some ways it seems like, well, I'm only starting out with, one person or my family. Am I sure that I really need this? A business plan really takes you in the direction that you want to go, and it makes it very evident to anyone else who might be investing what it is. So Mark's going to go through that for you. We're going to talk about creating a website, how important it is, what you're allowed to have on it, what you're not allowed to have on it, those kind of things. We also are going to talk about deciding on a location. Where should you have that, and if so, what would that look like, and how much money's investing, how much money do you really need to invest in a location, and especially in the very beginning. We're going to talk about gaining clients and strengthening your location. And I'm going to stop right here and very quickly ask Mark, we're still missing a person. Would you mind checking in with Lydie to see if they're able to get in on the course and what's going on? So thank you very much for that, sir. Gaining clients and strengthening your location. Of course, it's great to have a location, but if you're not getting clients, then or you don't feel as though you have a strong office, then it's really not doing you a whole lot of good. And so, rather than kind of playing with that for any length of time, let's just get down to the nitty-gritty and figure out how in the world you get people to come in. That's going to be an important component to what you're doing. We want to talk about logo and branding, how much you need to report on taxes and so forth. We want to talk about additional office info, just, what other kind of apps or programs might help you, PayPal, Vistaprint, forms, pricing structure, all of that kind of stuff. We're also going to go over some liability insurance. Is it important to have? There's several different kinds of liability. Which one do I need to have? That kind of thing. And we're also going to talk about the pros and the cons of accepting any kind of insurance. So I think with this agenda, we've kind of touched on most everything that everyone has already said that they'd like to know about. But at the same time, if we did not, now's a good time to put that in the question box so that we can make sure that we do in the day that we are together. All right, so let's just get started. We're going to start with, of course, walking the walk. When you're seeing clients, the only way for you to feel supported, to feel confident with what you are doing and how you're doing it, is to do the sessions yourself. This is Samantha, and I can tell you we have a little corporate teams that we use. probably once a week, Sam gets on and has herself hooked up like this and said, I'm, challenging all of you to do your own sessions today. And we all hook up. So it's something that, as a team, we believe wholeheartedly in. That's not to say we only do it once a week, but it is to say that, a lot of people are challenged at least once a week to do it. It is that important to us because we are working with people and we want people to be happy and we want to be able to support them. And we want to have the, we want to be at our best, are optimal. And so we know and understand to do that means that we have to consistently do our own sessions. It's just a very important part of working with the public. So train yourself, make sure that you're comfortable with your own experiences. And are you coming over here because you just want to be next to me, or did you have something you wanted to say?
I'm going to have to start talking here.
Oh, good job. Welcome to my world on this side of the desk. So share your experiences with others. I think another really kind of important part to doing this program and in this way is it kind of takes away the hierarchy of I am the therapist and I'm going to walk you through and tell you what to do and how to do it. Instead, it kind of puts you on a level where you can say, for me personally, to be my optimal, I need to do my sessions, and that makes you a little bit more vulnerable, but it also makes you human. And it makes it real easy for your clients to say, well, gosh, they seem real with it. If they're going to do it, I'll do it, and so it kind of, there's a camaraderie that is built into the program. And at some point, those same clients might be the clients you're selling a system to that are going to be running their own sessions at some point, sometime, so you want to kind of keep this, it's just a different feel with your clients than if you were the therapist and they were a client for you or with you. It keeps you feeling calm. When someone says it isn't working for me, or they want to complain about the process or whatever, then you will have gone through it. You will have understood. It's just an excellent way of keeping you grounded more than anything. I think that's the best words to use for this system. You just feel grounded, you feel balanced, you feel grounded, you feel, ready to take on the world. So it really restores any and all confidence in the system for you personally. And I think that's very, very, very important, because it's easy to entrain to their, well, maybe it's not working, or maybe that last update did do something, when we know it can't. And we know that this system, we don't have that possibility in it. So it's not doing something to the person. It's allowing the person to do something to themselves. And so what they're doing to themselves are what, the challenge is, of course. Take all the courses, classes, and webinars you can. I mean, we have really literally hundreds of webinars on there. Some of them are older, so some of them, the language may be a little different now. Trust the information you're getting currently and not the information that you hear in the older webinars. But there still is a lot of really good information in the older webinars, so don't feel like you shouldn't listen to them either. Do train your entire family, and it sounds like lots of you are. So make absolutely sure that everybody is comfortable and you've seen the changes with everybody, because I think that's really the experience that your clients will want to know and hear. So pay attention to the social experiences and the shifts and the changes that might be happening with people in and outside of your world. So when you're out talking to people, notice the way you talk to people now and the changes that are being made, because all of those things are going to be equally important to your experiences that you're going to be sharing. Okay, so let's get started. That's just the preview. You got to do your own stuff, right? So let's put it all together. And Mark, you want to kind of start talking us through it?
I'll jump in here. Like I said earlier, we're going to kind of, at a high level, dissect a business plan. And at one point, I taught a 12-week long business plan writing course. So that had, a section every week and homework in between. And so this is why I kind of stress that we're gonna lob the ideas out there and we're gonna discuss them more in a way to give you something to be thinking about and knowing what direction to go than to be able to you know, get to the bottom of everyone. But with that said, in, you know, this says new or expanding business, and we just with the few people we have here, we've got quite a range. We've got somebody that has just gotten a system and trying to think how to structure a business, to people who are bringing them into existing businesses 3 units at a time. You know, we've got a couple here that said that they had just purchased the business bundle, which is a minimum of 3 pieces, so three systems. So we'll try to throw it out there for us all to learn from each other. And I love this quote: if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. It just makes sense to give some thought to where you're going with your business and how you're doing it. And you know, the interesting point to me always is that the business plan that you put forth today is probably the one point that I can assure you will not fulfill. You won't get to exactly that point, because in the same way that in our classes we beat into you that Neuroptimal is a dynamical system, that humans and our central nervous systems are dynamical systems. This document is a dynamic document. It is what you're planning to do today, but it's going to change. It's not something that, you know, is set in stone. It just will be a guide for us.
And it could be considered a dynamical process in that you're going to be constantly looking back on what's worked and what isn't working and changing it in that direction. It's not that I'm just adding to it and therefore dynamic, but dynamical because we're going back and constantly re-evaluating and recycling and looking and so forth.
Because right now you don't know what you don't know. And that's going to become evident as we plan through today, and 2, as we go through life. And
the odd thing is that you may have started several businesses before, you know, but this is a different business. It is a business that's very inclusive. It's a business that's very, you know, it's focused in a very sensitive, health-oriented, wellness-oriented business, and it's different than any other business that you probably will ever own.
So, why do we even need a business plan? All right, that's a legitimate question, and a lot of people go without it. But you know, this first question: is it really necessary to have a business plan? Let me go back one slide. Okay, that says it all. You really need to think these things out. Now, I don't really care what form that business plan is. I mean, it may be a yellow legal pad outlining things that you continuously update. It doesn't have to be, you know, a formal printed, you know, in you know, color ink with graphs and you know, all sorts of things. It's whatever works for you and your business, but I think it's just great to have some sort of a guiding thought. Okay, and how do you use a business plan? Just exactly for planning purposes, to pull it out of that drawer every now and then and say, this is where I thought I was going. Am I still on plan? Have we varied? Have maybe a different revenue source started to take a little more meaning within my business? How do we plan around that? What are the implications of allocating my time to something different? And you know, we touched on, the 3 different revenue sources in the, well, we do it in both the basic and the advanced class, but we'll talk a little bit more about that today. And absolutely, you can do business plans yourself. I think that the most useless plans are when you hire somebody to write you a business plan. If you're not the one thinking it through and buying off on the assumptions and all that within a business plan, you're going to thank that person for it. You're going to pay them, and you're not going to pay any more attention to it. So I think absolutely you need to do it yourself. Now, whether or not you're doing that along with a 12-week course that you're being guided through it or something like that, that's great. But the fact that you're here taking this course, this one-day course, tells me that you've already kind of bought off on that. Okay. So what is in a business plan, and how do we get started? All right. Not all of us are actually starting up in business, but we're at least starting a new facet of our business.
Or we're strengthening it. We've tried it for a little while on our own and realized, hey, I'm going to need some extra help because what I'm doing isn't working. So, or working fast enough or strong enough or whatever. And this gives you the opportunity to do that.
Or maybe going too fast. I mean,
well, that could be too.
There are numerous examples of businesses kind of growing themselves into bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. So you have to plan for the good as well as the not so good. So when I think of a business plan, I think of it in these terms and in these major parts of a business plan. How is my entity structured? I have it on here as corporate structure. There was a comment earlier about, sole proprietor, and do you really need the sub-S corporate structure in that? So we're going to talk about that first. What service, what products am I offering? Who am I competing with? How do I market it? Really, what are my strengths and weaknesses? Okay, and this is what SWOT analysis stands for. We'll go into more detail on each one of these, but SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, you just lay out a 4x4 grid, and well, I guess it's actually 2x2 grid, 4 squares for our SWOT analysis, and we just try to be as honest with ourselves and with our environment as we can be, and that's a great exercise, and we'll spend some time on that. How am I going to manage this? What financial implications are there as far as growth, as far as different revenue streams, as far as break-even analysis? I'll give you a quick, easy way to kind of go through a break-even analysis. And then the executive summary. I've put it at the end here because you really have to think through all of this and then summarize it in a page or two. And some people, many times people will use a business plan for a financing request. You go to a bank, you say, here's my business, I want to put $25,000 into a business bundle, and here I'm going to make all that back because clients are going to come see me. The small business lender at that point is going to say, great, show me your business plan. And you're going to say, oh. So when we finish our executive summary, when we've got all of our areas kind of looked at, and then we can go back and we can summarize it in a page or two. The executive summary, of course, is going to go in the front of the business plan, and maybe that's all the lender's going to read, but you've got the rest of it as the supplemental information for them, basically. What did they mean by this different revenue source, and it's back in the financial section of that. So although I've got at the end of this and we're not really going to spend any time on an executive summary. It's always published in the front of it. If you're using a business plan just for your own use, you don't need an executive summary. You know what's in the plan. You know what you're thinking. It's really just for an outside review. I'll tell you that bankers, when they get, and remember I'm a past banker, so they may get 2 or 3 small business loan requests a day, and those may be anywhere from 25 pages to 150 pages, depending on how verbose somebody got in it. I can tell you that they're going to look to the executive summary for that first blush to see whether they're interested in spending the time with it. And so the executive summary in that respect, very, very important. And attention to detail in an executive summary is, it can't be stressed enough. I've seen business plans that have misspelled words in the first title or in the first paragraph, and I can tell you, if someone doesn't have the attention to detail for that, and they're asking for the bank's money, it just calls everything into question, no matter how strong everything else is. How could they do that, especially in today's day of spell checking? Now, that said, we'll see if we run across any misspelled words in our class today. but you get my point with that. Okay, so that's kind of the outline we're going to go through as we look at business plans. But first, we're going to jump into this legal structure. I think it was Michelle earlier said something about having a sub S and the need for that versus not, and the hassle of having a sub S. So we'll kind of talk about the different legal structures that are out there, okay? The first one, and referred to earlier in the comment, a sole proprietorship really is the easiest thing to do. Basically, you just start doing business. I say, I'm Mark DeLong, and I'm going to offer you NeurOptimal services. Okay, the income and expenses and all are shown in your personal taxes. So the tax rate is just at your personal rate, and that's okay in that sense. But the point I want to make is that the personal liability for not only the financial obligations of the business, but any claims against the business. Okay, so financial obligations, when I read that initially, I think that is borrowing money, that's a financial obligation of the business. But if by some chance the business was sued, that would become a financial obligation of you personally also. Okay, so that's a really, really important distinction of the liability you're taking on to work as a sole proprietorship. Okay, taxes are great, to just have them on your personal thing, but you don't have that, what they call a corporate veil. Okay, a distinction between you personally and you business-wise. Okay? So along that same vein, you can just be a partnership. You can get together with someone, hopefully that 2 or more people, doesn't have to just be 2, and in this same way, income and expenses and liability are passed on to the partners in the ratio of their partnership interest. Okay, it does. If they're two people, it doesn't have to be 50-50. Okay, it can be 51-49. It can be 70-30. You know, depending on what each person brings to the table. This is fraught with issues and has broken up many friendships. Let's go into partnership together. Oh, I'll do this, you'll do that. And so I just warn you that, you know, a 50-50 partnership basically has nobody in charge. And maybe you can make that work. You have to be really diligent on this is my responsibility, this is your responsibility, this is how we will share the oversight, who will make the decisions on marketing, who will make the decisions on this and that. And so it has to be really an open relationship in discussing how the business goes, because it really will at some point someone will feel slighted. I'm working 65 hours a week, you're working 30 hours a week, and we're splitting the money 50-50. You know, anytime money gets involved, friendships can be lost. Okay, so has the same aspect of personal liability that it flows to you personally. So yeah, never partner with someone just because it's convenient. It'll drive you crazy. I probably should have advanced that slide while I was talking about that. Okay, so now I've talked about the issue of personal liability and how do we get over that. And it came up earlier, S Corp, you know, came up in the comments at the beginning. And what that is basically a separate legal entity is formed, a corporation. Okay, this corporation is a basically a living, breathing entity. It is an entity unto itself. Okay, it's owned. There's shareholders that own the shares in that. It can be an S Corp, can be 100% owned by an individual. Okay, and typically when we're talking small entities like any of us are at this point, we're talking S Corp. It's subchapter S, which is a part of the corporate law that says we can incorporate like this. Typically small, one level of stock. You know, there's common stock that one or two people own all of, and that sort of thing. The other type of corporation is a C Corp. Here again, subchapter C. This has to do with large entities. Typically, there can be a lot, you know, basically an unlimited number of shareholders. There can be different levels of stock, common stock, preferred stock, you know, more than that even, but it's really geared towards large / very large corporations. So not really a consideration for any of us online. Okay, I mean, if we were to desire to go this way, you know, the subchapter S corporation would be the one that would be the best choice for you guys. Okay, in that way, the tax impact is the same as if you were a sole proprietorship or a partnership if there's 2 or 3 shareholders, okay? The net income is split amongst the shareholders in the ratio that they own. And if you own 100%, 100% of the net income goes to you on your taxes, okay? And then is taxable. But the best part about this is that being that it is its own legal entity, if there were a lawsuit filed against the office, it would really be against the corporation. The corporation is the one liable for that, and that's not immediately passed to you personally. So this is why people can be filing bankruptcy in their businesses, because there's been something that's happened that, and they've preserved their personal assets. Okay, you hear about things like that going on all the time. So really, really, really important in my mind to have that wall, that corporate veil to keep the business and the personal the personal. Now that said, there's not been a lawsuit against a neurofeedback practitioner that I think either one of us are aware of, that's ever been driven off of malpractice or anything like that. The only lawsuits that I'm aware of, and this is thankfully just almost never, but I know of at least 1 or 2, sexual impropriety with a client. And that's on you if you're doing that. But an interesting thing to think about here when it comes to insurance, and we're going to talk more on insurance, but we're talking about lawsuits, is that if and you can say, oh, I'm never going to do this. I'm always going to be good. I'm not going to abuse my clients. And we all know that, especially with neurooptimal neurofeedback, it's not taking any. We're not diagnosing them. We're not treating them, right? We're just allowing them to partake of our neurooptimal training system. We know it's not going to generate horrible side effects or anything like that. So part of the reason why there's never been lawsuits. But the thing is that you could be driving between 2 clients. Say you're doing a mobile office, and some people are starting to do this now, or simply going from one office to another, one physical location to another, and you get into a traffic accident that lawsuits are filed for. And one of the first things they're going to ask is, were you on a business trip? I mean, did this have anything to do with business? And the lawyers are going to try to tie that into your business, and then they're going to wrap the business up in the lawsuit. So it may be nothing that you even had control of in that respect, but something horrible happened from one way to another, from one office to another or something. So to answer the earlier question, absolutely important in my mind to have that corporate veil, okay? There are loads of people out there operating without it for years and years and years, but that's my counsel, okay? There are some easier ways than the S Corp. You said earlier that it was just so much of a hassle. And partially because of that, this limited liability company or limited liability partnership was formed, or limited liability corporation. It basically is a separate legal entity, okay, much like a corporation, that the profits and losses are passed on to the owners. So it shows up in your personal taxes, just the same as being a sole proprietorship. Has the corporate veil, is a entity to itself, and is an easier thing to document and follow and keep up to date. Okay, so in this light, you know, your accountants, hopefully you've all got an accountant, even a very you know, personal accountant, should be very familiar with limited liability companies, limited liability corporations, and more than likely, in my estimation, if you don't have any corporate entity yet, this is the easiest, cheapest way to go. Okay, you'll want to, you know, just talk to your accountant, talk to your attorney. Possibly either one of them could help set something like that up, and then you're doing business as that LLC. Okay, so just to drive home the point just a little bit more, sole proprietorship or partnership, you're carrying personal liability. You know, you can be sued personally for something that happened in the business. S Corp, C Corp, LLC, LLP shunts that ability for them to come after you personally. So in any case, any of these is a little bit more paperwork. The LLC is going to be less, so hopefully that would make sense to you and would probably be the avenue I'd suggest that you looked at. Okay, we'll move on. There's been no questions coming into the question box, so I'm just going to keep yammering. Okay. Oh, if you don't mind, which do you have? LLC. You probably heard that in my voice. You know, our office was Cognitive Connections LLC, limited liability company, and pretty darn easy to keep it that way. Okay. So let's jump into the SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Here's the little 4-square thing that I talked about. And this is earlier in the presentation today than that listing of areas that I said we were going to cover, because I think it would make great sense that you guys just took out a piece of paper, drew 4 boxes, labeled them like this, and just as we go along, think about your business and just write a bunch of stuff in here. You know, we had the one comment that I hate the amount of paperwork with the sub S, or whatever that was. I know that's not a direct quote, but a strength is you have a corporate entity. Okay. A weakness is that you find it cumbersome to keep up with, or something like that. And so I just kind of block it out like that, because, you know, once you have this done, you're going to want to go back in there and say, you know, how can I set aside this weakness? What can I do about this threat that's in my world? And where do I go from here? You can't always get rid of a weakness. You can't always get rid of a threat. But at a minimum, you need to be aware. There is this threat, and all I can do is follow the what's happening in the whatever, the regulations, what's happening with that group of competitors or something. It's a threat. I mean, Burger King is a threat to McDonald's in some ways, right? There's nothing they can do about it, but they can monitor how they're changing their menus and what's happening to sales, and see how to respond to those sort of things. And then there are far more blatant threats too. But so another way to do it is in 4 columns. Look at what you are good at, your strengths. It may be I have a PhD that the clients really respect, that when I look at my environment, this is something that I have that other people don't. I don't, but I'm married to one.
And it might be, Mark, and yes, you are married to one. It might be really useful at this point to just see if a couple people might want to share one of these with us, what they would consider a strength to their business, and just kind of go through one at a time. And I don't know if you already had that planned in your head somewhere, but this would be a good way for them to be a little bit more interactive. And again, because the course is relatively small.
Yeah, and I'd love to do that. And what we can do, we're just about an hour in. Let's just get through this discussion. Let's just take a few minute break, let people write these out, and then we'll come back, and hopefully some of you will share some things. If you want to share it anonymously, you can type it into the question box. If you don't,
great idea.
If you'll verbalize it, we'll just unmute you and we can talk about it. So
that's a great idea.
Strengths may be, could be location, okay? Could be a weakness, okay? I have this location versus this location. People can't find my office. That's a weakness. The strengths could be, and here I'll refer to Lisa again, 25+ years of neurofeedback experience in not only dynamical neurofeedback, neurooptimal, but also the linear. So really understands the differences between the two, and able to get that point across to clients. Could be you have access to part-time people that are very, very qualified, that will help you grow your business in an incremental manner. Okay. Weakness would be, I'm stretched so thin. I'm working 55 hours a week, and I don't even have the time to be sitting in this class today. Okay. Give that strengths and weaknesses a little thought. Okay. Opportunities. What can we exploit? Where can we grow? What can we do to expand? Let's think through where we might be able to go. An opportunity could be, hey, I'm the only one providing, one of my strengths, I'm the only one providing neurofeedback or neurooptimal neurofeedback in this entire county. What would happen if I opened up another office on the east side of the county? That might be an opportunity. I have a great relationship with this group of doctors Okay, is there an opportunity there for me to generate referral sources from that? Opportunities, you know, we talked earlier, and I'll talk far more about it, about the different income streams, and a lot of you, at least a couple of you, are already starting to address this. You know, I have my office set up, I have my you know, clientele coming in, and I'm working, you know, so many sessions a week in my office. Is there an opportunity to expand my rental business? Is there an opportunity to make more passive income on sales? Is there an opportunity for you know, coaching or expanding, you know, linking two things together? And, you know, what opportunities are there out there? And like this says, some opportunities just fall into your lap. You didn't even know it was there, and then you think, dang, that's a good opportunity, let's do that. And that's exactly how Lisa and I spread out to multi-state offices. You know, we were seeing loads of clients in another state, and all autistic children. And you know, at that point, we weren't thinking it's an opportunity to be there forever. I mean, this was really sort of the opportunity was, can we make it work to get in there, see this group of kids, get them moved along, and drop out. When another player in this market came to Lisa and said, I see what you're doing with all these kids. I see them in my business, and what that group, how that group is changing versus the ones that aren't seeing you. If you'll open a full-time office here, I will give you space, and I will give you all the clients you need to be full, you know, 40, 50 hours a week. It's not often that something like that drops into your lap to where for very little expense, you can open up a completely full office. So we, of course, spent a little time thinking about how that was going to affect us personally, as far as having multi-state offices, and then jumped in with both feet. And, you know, that was the start to opening up the third office and the fourth office, you know, all at the same time. So think of the opportunities, but then be open to the opportunities too, right? And then threats, you know, and it really outlines it here. External factors beyond your control, okay, that could place you at risk. You know, government regulations, your office burns down. You know, I mean, completely out of your control, but it's a threat, right? Brain
balance moves in next door.
Yeah,
you know, another neurofeedback process moves in right next door.
Yeah. Or in NeurOptimal's world, another NeurOptimal provider starts seeing clients, you know, on the next block.
But we'll talk about that and whether that actually is a threat or not. It's really interesting.
In a comment here, misunderstanding or misinformation on NeurOptimal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that can hurt a lot when people do not understand the process, and or we didn't teach the process very well in the beginning to that new client, and therefore they're going out and telling people it's something other than what it is.
And the threat to you, hopefully, this group is going to be the most educated, most understanding of all that. But the threat to you is somebody else is out there saying, oh, NeurOptimal, it does this, this, and this, and you know it's absolutely wrong.
Or NeurOptimal can't do any of this, and it's bogus, and it's, you know, they come up with all sorts of different thoughts. And, you know, so there definitely are a number of threats that you can put down.
And so we have to think through, how do we counter that? You know, the fact that the building could burn down, you know, we have insurance.
Right.
You know, to go back a few slides, the fact that we could be sued, we have insurance. I mean, we try to alleviate as much of this threat as we can, and some of it is only just having a plan. You know, and part of the, just if this were to happen, this is how I'll respond.
And,
Knowing that we may have no control over whether it happens or not.
and if somebody is saying something that is totally inaccurate, it means that we set up a plan to educate and have awareness around NeurOptimal that is workable and true and honest, and we do that on a regular basis.
Yeah. And the ones that can react to those threats quickest and most efficiently, if any of them comes to play, are the ones that will survive. Okay, so with that said, let's do that. Let's get out a piece of paper, break it into either 4 columns or 4 boxes, either way you want to do it. Label them: strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats. Spend some time with it and think it through. Homework time. See you in a few. Bye-bye.